Cash Global TV subscribe.
Global community, what's the deal with we young? We got another compilation of non-mainstream videos. We're gonna get rid of that indoctrination that the system gave us our whole life. Relearn this history. Hopefully we get a little bit of architecture. We got a hard time going through life. We got the global gang right next to you and we're gonna get through it. That being said, remember, let's get this knowledge together. We going on a journey. Watch the whole video, hit that sub button, drop them globes. Let's get into it.
Cash Global TV subscribe.
First draft in more than 50 years will work, the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed during an interview with Fox News that the president is keeping all of his options open, including the possibility of a future military draft. As official reports from the Selective Service on how the modern-day draft process works detail that first, only men aged 18 to 25 are eligible for the draft, the order being 20-year-olds first, followed by 21 through 25, after that 19, and last is 18, but the actual selection process of who in each age group goes first is a random birthday lottery where 366 numbered ping pong balls are placed in one bowl and 366 birthday combinations are placed in another. A ball is drawn from each and matched up, thereby giving every birthday in the year a randomly assigned number. And finally, when the military needs men, these numbers will be called up sequentially in batches from the current age group.
Landmark social media trial in Los Angeles. The head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, testifying yesterday that he does not believe people can be clinically addicted to social media platforms. The question of addiction is a key pillar of the case. Plaintiffs are seeking to hold social media companies responsible for harming children who use their platforms. Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, and Google's YouTube, are the remaining defendants in the case.
Why won't you release Anthropic's AI without restrictions to the U.S. government?
We have said to the Department of War that we are okay with all use cases except for two that we're concerned about. One is domestic mass surveillance. An example of this is something like taking data collected by private firms, having it bought by the government, and analyzing it in mass via AI. So there's this way in which domestic mass surveillance is getting ahead of the law. The technology is advancing so fast that it's out of step with the law. Case number two is fully autonomous weapons. This is the idea of making weapons that fire without any human involvement. The AI systems of today are nowhere near reliable enough to make fully autonomous weapons. And there's an oversight question too. If you have a large army of drones or robots that can operate without any human oversight, where there aren't human soldiers to make the decisions about who to target, who to shoot at, that presents concern.
I'm gonna be 1,000. That is dangerous, not having human oversight. I believe we would have went to war already 3 times if we didn't have the human oversight that we had with the AI situation we currently possess. How y'all feel about it? What we are? Or is this an inevitable future we going to?
All of this stuff has been designed to distract us from the scariest thing I think I've ever seen on the news. NASA discovered spider webs on Mars. Miles-long spider webs. Elon Musk wants to go to Mars. I think it's time for us to all stop fighting each other and focus our weapons on Mars. Giant Martian spiders.
A few years ago, I was able to go inside the Cheyenne Mountain Space Force Station, and that is in Colorado Springs. It's just essentially a small city that people dug out of the granite of Cheyenne Mountain back during the Cold War. Put a bunch of buildings 2,000 feet under a mountain on giant springs so that they could survive the Soviets' best nuclear blast, and so that from that mountain they could, strike back with their own nuclear weapon, even if everything was fire and brimstone and radiation.
Because the United States is literally at war right now, service members who are being drafted are literally doing get ready with me's on TikTok. For some reason, putting on perfume and doing your makeup just to go fight seems absolutely insane to me, especially considering there are airstrikes happening above them. Meanwhile, people who are living in Dubai are not even taking this seriously and are posting things like first war kinda nervous, pretty much making a joke about the entire situation. And then there are those who are making edits of the drones attacking the buildings like they're in a music video or something. thing. But to make things worse, apparently people on TikTok say that whenever service members are about to get drafted, they usually get a really expensive last meal, basically to say thank you. Like when things were going down with Iran last summer, they were given steak and lobster, and this time around they are being given steak and crab, which is definitely not a good sign. The crazy thing is, a lot of these TikToks were posted literally a day or two before the airstrikes actually happened, so it's almost like it was literally planned that they were gonna be getting this bad news. But that's nothing compared to what the White House has been doing, because honestly, I cannot tell if the person running the White House page on TikTok either needs to be fired or needs a raise. Because even though we are on the brink of World War III, the account has been posting non-stop edits of the US attacking Iran. On one hand, it feels extremely out of touch and low-key dystopian, but on the other, the videos are getting over 12 million views each, so they are clearly doing something right. But regardless, everyone in the comments doesn't seem to be too happy about this, and are saying things like there is no other country in the world besides America that would make
information on this, WAR. Make sure you get it from sources also outside of the USA that don't have our narrative, because I believe the situation looks a lot different. I know we got global members from the UK to LA to Zimbabwe, South Africa. Let me know what's going on. Also, the building in Dubai had an explosion or something, and some shrapnel hit another building. It was no attack in Dubai. Let's just clear that up. I'm non-biased media. That's what I'm here for.
Because Meta's workers in Kenya have been watching Americans have sex through their Meta Ray-Bans. In 2025, Meta sold over 7 million of these sunglasses, and I love mine. But apparently every time I say, hey Meta, it's going up into Meta's cloud server and it's reviewed by contractors in Kenya. And apparently my footage has been used to label and train Meta's AI. This is verified because 2 Swedish newspapers got these workers on record saying that they see everything, from living rooms to naked bodies. And I'm really comfortable on camera, obviously, but these have seen things that are not for anybody else. These workers are on record saying that they have seen people undressing, people in bathrooms, people having sex, all captured by wearers who have no idea anybody else is watching. Meta's response is that this is in their terms of service. But it gets worse, because recently it came out that Meta was going to add facial recognition to their glasses, as in real-time facial recognition. They scraped that plan, and they wanted to launch that feature now because the news cycle is so chaotic that nobody would notice. So it wasn't that they were wondering if this was ethical or not, they were just wondering if anybody would notice, because they knew people were going to fight it. They just planned to get that through when you were distracted. Meta has already settled a $650 million facial recognition lawsuit about Facebook, and then $1.4 billion to the state of Texas for the same thing. And now they want to put that technology in 7 million glasses. But on March 4th, there was a federal class action lawsuit that got filed in San Francisco. So we'll see how that ends up, but I'm definitely going to be very careful where I wear these now.
This graphic comes from Claude, one of the most popular AI programs, and it shows that AI has already begun to replace some of the things that lawyers can do, and it's only going to continue to replace more things that lawyers can do. And in fact, out of all the professions on this graph, you can see that AI is going to sort of displace lawyers the most. So my advice to people who are aspiring lawyers or who are just, I guess, beginning their careers, focus on things that AI cannot replace. And for me, that's trial work in particular. AI can't get up in front of a judge and a jury and give an opening statement or cross-examine a witness. So build those skills that AI cannot replace.
Psychology says nothing is inherently easy or hard, just familiar or unfamiliar. Because when you begin doing something, it becomes automatic after enough repetitions.
Calm brains process information more efficiently. Stress slows cognition, and calm sharpens clarity. If you feel that things are getting out of control, try slow, deep breathing for a minute or two to help reset your nervous system.
Top 3 at least. Be in control of your emotions. At least I am in control of mine. It wasn't an overnight process. It wasn't an over-year process. And once you do that, your life is an immense difference. You don't make me mad, I decide if I let you make me mad.
Isn't passive, it's power. Follow Sense IQ for more nervous system insights.
This is Wolf Creek Pass, you all. Look how big this massive planetary-like object is, and it looks like there's 2 of them. This is in Colorado. This is the FAA weather cams. Look at all the different colors of it. It looks like cities. It's massive.
What if your natural cognition is spatial? What if it's musical? What if it's pattern-driven, emotional, mathematical, narrative-based? AGI adapts not just content, but cognitive modality. It meets each person in the architecture of their own mind.
Fun fact of the day. The most valuable heist in Canadian history is the Great Canadian Maple Syrup Heist. Over several months in 2011 and 2012, 3,000 tons of maple syrup were stolen from a storage facility in Quebec, a value of 18.7 million Canadian dollars.
Somehow knew that my work, which technically would have been about something called self-dual Yang-Mills equations, was actually about gravity. He was very focused on gravity, and which this is going to come up in the UFO disclosures, which is that the UFO weirdness is not just about UFOs. It's about the golden age of general relativity and U.S. attempts to gain control over additional forces of nature. There are 4 forces of nature. We know how to control 2 of them somewhat, the strong force and the electromagnetic force. The strong force is what we got control of in 1945 and took out 2 cities in Japan. So what happens when you can control gravity? This is absolutely national interest. The national security apparatus has completely fallen down on the job. Nobody's picked up on what kind of a spy he was. And the idea that this is some sort of auxiliary thing that he was doing with respect to science, when the main story is just about the sexual misdeeds, this is not true. I mean, his operation, I think in part, was about spying on scientists.
So with that being said, do you think the E-Man and what their desires and wanted stopped when he went to jail or allegedly unalived himself or moved countries, whatever he did, entertainment purposes only? Their wants and desires and their lust for giving sacrifices to those entities didn't stop with Mr. E-Man, not at all. What y'all feel about this? Let me know. You know what's still going on, or am I tripping?
New York City's idea from 150 years ago, but they forgot it was there for decades. In 2013, Elon Musk announced the Hyperloop, which were pods moving through low-pressure tubes at hundreds of miles per hour. But this wasn't futuristic at all. New York City had already built it back in 1869. This is when Manhattan streets were all in chaos and bottlenecked at Broadway. So Alfred Eli Beach designed a subway with a car inside a sealed tube pushed by compressed air, just like the core idea of the Hyperloop. But the most corrupt politician in American history, Boss Tweed, controlled NYC. And he blocked every subway proposal to protect his own investment in elevated railroads. So Beach lied and applied for permits to build a small mail tube under Broadway. But he secretly changed the plans to one large tube. So his crew dug only at night to hide their work, until they could finally reveal it 58 days later. A 312-foot tunnel that used a fan the size of a small house to push a car down a block, and then reverse the spinning direction of the fan to suck the car back. And over the next year, the public loved it, with 400,000 people paying 25 cents to ride it. But Boss Tweed was furious, and he blocked the expansion. So the station was sealed and forgotten for 42 years. When in 1912, workers were excavating a new subway line and broke through a wall to find the tunnel and the car still intact.
The creator is ignorant, AI is going to be ignorant. If the creator is malevolent, a criminal, then AI is going to be that. If the AI is the creator is a killer, that's what AI is going to be. AI is just a machine that is created by somebody, and it didn't come before that person. The person came before it, and whatever the person creates in it, that's what it's going to be.
For sure. The vibrations, the 808. The 808 is known to trap your soul. The 808 is this deep bass, and the vibrational frequency of the 808, it keeps you locked into your root and your sacral chakra. And it's so addictive because it's sexually stimulating to the body.
I'm a sound designer. I'm a creator of Drums That Knock, and I've done sound design on some of your favorite records. This take is crazy. To demonize a sound, an 808, and say that 808s are bad and they trap your soul and trap your energy is absolutely wild. If the song carries a negative intention, then yes, it can have negative effects, but to demonize one sound, a bass sound, is absolutely crazy. 808s are not a weapon. 808s are amazing. Just because a sound has a low frequency does not make it bad. A bass sound is naturally a low frequency sound. Oftentimes a song that sounds balanced has a good mixture between the low end and the high end. That's what makes a full sound. So let's stop demonizing low frequency sound.
Proof that animals are evolving, part 15. This video shows a dolphin playing with a pufferfish, nudging and rolling it around in the water. When threatened, pufferfish release a powerful tetrodotoxin, deadly in high doses but may produce a mild narcotic effect in small amounts. Researchers believe dolphins sometimes provoke the fish just enough to trigger a small release of the toxin before lingering near the surface in a calm, almost trance-like state, highlighting the high intelligence of these creatures and how this intoxication-seeking behavior appears strikingly similar to humans. This cat seems to know exactly how to get its owner's attention, using the door knocker knowing that it's loud enough for the person inside to hear. For the first time on record, scientists documented a wild orangutan deliberately treating his own injury using a medicinal plant. In 2022, a male orangutan named Rakis was observed with an open facial wound, after which he selected leaves from a plant known for its anti-inflammatory properties, chewed them into a pulp, and carefully applied the juice directly onto the wound. He then pressed the leftover plant matter over the injury, effectively forming a crude bandage. Researchers noted the wound healed perfectly without signs of infection, marking the first confirmed case of a wild non-human animal independently performing a multi-step medical treatment on itself.
Well, there's biologists that believe that monkeys and chimps and some of the great apes are moving into the Stone Age, that they've currently entered the Stone Age. Like, they're not staying what they were 100,000 years ago or 500,000 years ago, but they're actively using tools and they're experimenting with different ways to use those tools. And then they're making tools out of stone. They're making tools out of sticks, and they're using them.
We're just supposed to do this,
exactly,
and make the jump to some sort of mechanized,
yeah,
non-biological.
Have you ever seen an orangutan that is fishing with a spear? Primatologists.
Wait, without somebody showing them how to fish?
No, they've imitated human beings doing it. Look at that.
I don't believe in evolution the way that they taught us in the indoctrination that we got. I also took anthropology, and he got busted down a whole different way. But I've definitely seen the pictures that the geographers have been showing of the monkeys or the apes advancing. I don't know how I feel about that. How y'all feel about it? I mean, they see us do it. Why not? Monkey see monkey do it.
Tattoos, especially face tattoos. Again, nobody's life is going good, and they said a face tattoo will make it better. Something is wrong with people's brains who get face tattoos. There's no question. The likelihood that they have recovered from that state of mind are super slim. I know people, and I'd like to think of myself as one, who had a broken brain of sorts, got my face tattooed, all these years later with tremendous work and effort.
I don't believe the narrative that I have some type of trauma because I have face tattoos. I don't know. Maybe if you have your face completely tatted, but not just a few.
Covered from that train of thought, right? That type of thinking. And now I'm like a good guy in society. It's super rare that happens. Most people, their lives are terrible while they get a face tattoo. Their lives stay terrible forever. You should judge a person with face tattoos. They're probably a bad person. They probably have a broken brain, and they're probably not going to do anything positive for your life. You know what I mean? Yet they and I still got these tattoos knowing that those things are all true and people will judge us.
Products that got discontinued for solving the problem. The Forever flashlight in 2002 applied innovative technologies, introduced a flashlight that needed no batteries. You shook it to generate power using electromagnetic induction, no replacements, no waste. After early success, the company faced sudden supply and manufacturing problems. The patent was sold. The product vanished. The idea worked. The business model didn't. The indestructible charging cable in 2014 Fuse Chicken created a steel-armored phone cable. Built to survive extreme bending and stress, it came with a lifetime warranty. Most cables fail at the connector, this one didn't. Retailers slowly stopped stocking it. The cable industry relies on frequent replacements. A cable that never breaks threatens that cycle. Lifetime mufflers in the 1950s. Some auto shops sold mufflers with lifetime guarantees. They were made of heavy stainless steel and superior welds. Unlike regular mufflers, they didn't rust out after a few years. Customers bought one and never came back. The shops expected repeat business. Instead, they sold a product that refused to fail. By the 1960s, most stores quietly ended the offer. A perfect muffler was bad for profits.
Bet you didn't know they're using AI to talk to whales. No, not boat ramming killer whales, though I'm sure they have a lot to say. Sperm whales. These giants of the deep have the largest brains on Earth and communicate with complex patterns of clicks. At 230 decibels, they're the loudest animal, and some researchers have even said their most potent clicks could vibrate a person to death. The first step in decoding their language is the same as the first step in any AI system, building a data set. These researchers, who are all working together as part of something called Project SETI, are going to have to gather tons of data and then start sorting it using things like time, location, and even sperm whale social group. Then a machine learning algorithm or algorithms will work to detect and classify clicks
engineered. Okay. That's the insect praying
energy to talk about a nuclear issue. We weren't cleared.
Not even at your position?
I had to get
and lipstick. If you talked back to men, you'd be punished under common scold laws. You'd be put in a ducking stool and dunked into a river repeatedly. The point was public humiliation. Being too educated would make you socially dangerous and hinder your ability to reproduce. And existing while being a woman in general, women were institutionalized for anxiety, sadness, disobedience, and ambition, among many other things, under the diagnosis of hysteria. And the cure for hysteria was an in-office pelvic massage performed by a male doctor using a vibrator.
DARPA is something most Americans have never heard of. It's the biggest collection of geniuses anywhere in government. These are the guys that are creating not the next generation of technology, but 3 generations from now. If there are flying saucers and they're not little green men from outer space, DARPA made them. Seriously. This always struck me as very funny. DARPA's work is so classified that one DARPA scientist sitting next to another DARPA scientist has no idea what the other guy's working on. It's too highly classified. I mean, even at the CIA, we weren't cleared.
Not even at your position?
I had to get a Q clearance once because I had to go to the Department of Energy to talk about a nuclear issue. Nobody liked
Like I always say, we never hear no DARPA whistleblower, never hear no Raytheon whistleblower. Not gonna happen.
the fact that I had the clearance. And I ended up having the clearance just for one day, and then they revoked it. But that's how DARPA is too. This is another thing that always struck me as funny. There's a DARPA website, and they have pictures of scientists like, working together all in bliss. These are just generic pictures of random people you pull off the internet. These aren't DARPA people that are the pictures. You can't show the DARPA people. They're too highly clear.
Talking about the quataloid. Okay. That's the insect praying mantis type looking about could be up to 6 foot tall. They were the dangerous ones. And they're the ones, as I understand, that we didn't know a whole lot about. But we acquired this particular one, from a crash site, and it actually harmed a human. So we were very careful of how we captured it and how we stored it at the containment facility as do Annex.
Rick, are there different species of quataloids?
Yeah, because they're genetically engineered, and we know that much. But so there are other species, and they also can appear different to humans. They make themselves appear in a particular manner to a human, and would probably just scare them, I would guess.
What did this man witness in New Jersey? Outside of Hackettstown, several people have reported the terrifying sight of a humanoid bug creature near the Musconecon River. Meet the Mantis Man. According to eyewitness reports, this giant bug creature stands around 7 feet tall and resembles a praying mantis. In 2011, on the Phantoms and Monsters blog, Paul Jacks wrote in to share an encounter with one of these beings. According to his story, he was fishing on the Musconecon River on July 26 when suddenly he saw this large humanoid being standing in the water. He immediately noticed its triangular head and huge slanted black eyes. Whatever this thing was, it wasn't human. And despite its spindly and gangly insect appearance, he could sense that it was powerful and not to be messed with. Jax believed that what he was seeing was a real biological creature and not some hallucination. However, the moment after he laid his eyes on it, the mantis creature was aware of him. Within an instant, the creature disappeared into thin air as if it had cloaked to blend in with its surroundings. Since then, additional reports of mantis men encounters have surfaced, all describing something similar, but with some coming from childhood memories that sound a lot more like an alien abduction scenario. But what do you think of the Mantis Man? Make sure to leave a comment and let me know what state you want to hear about next.
Dog, Elon Musk might be fucking insane. You all know he owns Tesla, right? Well, today he said, "F Tesla, I'm done." Starting this year, he is done making drivable cars. Every car moving forward is going to look like this. No steering wheel, no pedals. It's just going to drive you around. He literally already discontinued 2 of his cars to make more robots. Bro, this is the biggest gamble we've ever seen in our lifetime, okay? This is either going to make this man bloody fucking rich or piss poor. And he has a successful business with Tesla, and he's literally throwing it away for the autonomous future. The question is, would you rather buy a drivable car or have this bitch drive you around? That's insane to think about.
Just lost 92,000 jobs in a month. Economists expected 60,000 jobs to be added, but instead employers cut nearly every sector. Restaurants lost 30,000 jobs, healthcare lost 28,000, factories have now cut jobs in 14 of the last 15 months. Right, and unemployment jumped to 4.4%, and then it gets worse. Government also revised December and January numbers down by another 69,000 jobs that never actually existed. And this after last year, the economy averaged just 15,000 jobs a month under Trump's tariff chaos. So January looked like a rebound, but February killed that hope. One economist even called it a knockdown blow. You have companies not hiring because they don't know what's coming next. The worth of Iran spiking fuel costs, the tariffs keep changing, and AI is making employers wonder if they even need new workers. And now you've got the Fed meeting March 17th, and they're split between cutting rates to save the job market and keeping them high to fight inflation, which the war is going to make worse. So ultimately, the economy is stuck, and nobody seems to have a plan to unstick it.
It was a wild variety of information. I'm going to start trying to hone it on. Y'all got to help me send in videos so I get more structured and we stay on one topic, but we can keep going down every rabbit hole. It seems like they're trying to distract us from everything. Everything is a distraction, but something it has to be focused on. We're going to figure it all out as a collective. One person will never know everything. I am your humble host, Cash, capital K, $ for the S. Make sure y'all run me up, hype me up. I need y'all help getting in this algorithm. You already know I'll be on tonight.